Hello, Jennifer.
Hello,
First of
Carola.
all, first of all, I'd like to say thanks for your mail and for your video. It is awesome.
Oh, thank you.
For the first time, I've seen you teaching, really teaching, and it was just such a nice experience. I liked the way how you talked to the children. I like the atmosphere in this wonderful classroom that is called a home.
Right.
I have never been homeroom teaching,
Yes.
and this is very special to me because I have so many students around me every day. It's so much calmer and so much more focused on two children. This is such a wonderful time you could spend with them. And I just like to go from the beginning because I have it still in my mind. I think there have been three main parts. The introduction when you started with the punctuation and the sentences. And then the second one where the children got deeper into this Aesop fable.
Yes.
And finally, when they had fun holding up these exclamation mark, question mark things. All in all, I think this lesson has been absolutely objective-wise happened well. I think you reached the objective nearly at the beginning, and I thought maybe the children had some knowledge about punctuation already. Maybe it seemed to me as it had been quite clear to them when to set up the exclamation mark, and also hesitating with the question mark once they finally got this message because you supported them in getting along. So there has never been a kind of stuck. So they could really focus on the task you have given to them. There was not a time pressure. You set up clear strategies and goals, in my opinion. And I think it was absolutely clear throughout the whole lesson that you have never forgotten the objective in your mind. You all teaching. You know what I mean?
Yes, thank you.
And I also think it's not easy to teach punctuation, in my opinion, because this is not something they can move a lot, or just
Right.
like my children in the forest. They need to sit still. They need to focus on something you talk about, and you made it interesting for them, so you didn't lose their focus at all. I realized that because it's really not easy. I have never taught second graders in punctuation, but I think it's not the easiest version. So
Yes.
all in all, I think it's been absolutely fine and clear to me what your goal has been, what the children needed to talk to you about. So this is what I think.
Okay, thank you for your encouraging feedback, Carola. I really appreciate that. I also enjoyed watching your video because we can see each other in action, and I saw you out there with all the little ones in the forest, and I thought that it was good. They didn't just run without any structure, just playtime, which is good too, but you had them get into a circle first, and you told them that first we get into a circle, so you communicated very clearly. And I just can't imagine the challenge of all the languages. They were all very patient, I thought, for being 3 and 4-year-olds, and they got into the circle, and then you sang your songs. And then if you had other parents that had that knew other languages, they knew the basic idea to say hello and welcome to the forest, and that they stood there pretty patiently. They didn't get restless until the very end, and then you explained the rules again, so you didn't give it all to them in the beginning, so they had to hold too much information in their mind for too long. Then you said, okay, now we're going to run, and we're not going to push, we're not going to pull, we're not going to run too fast. And you took a little boy's hand and you said, you'll run with me. And so that was great. So then after they had to stand still, they had some physical exercise, which I think is good for the energy. And then later, when you had them build, at first I thought you were building like sticks for a pretend campfire spot, when I first saw it. And then I realized, oh no, you made a big circle and you made the nest for the nest children. And so when I saw that part, I just went, oh, Carola's nest children. It's not just a cute name. They go out into the forest and they make a nest. And even everything that you did with them, you spoke so clearly, like, where's our sink? And the children came up with, oh, wait, that's back at school. And so you looked like you put hand sanitizer on all their hands, or some kind of rubbing alcohol or cleaner or something. and you went around and did that. And then I loved how you had the toy squirrel, because kids love to have visuals. So you had the singing and you had the physical movement, and then you had the visual, and I saw that they each had bags. And I know from things you've shared before that you go back to the classroom, and from pictures you've sent me, they do things like they count pine cones or they do leaf rubbings. And in this particular video, you were talking a lot about the colors, going back to the beginning, all the colors that you see. And so I thought, oh, that was maybe one of the focuses of your lesson, was to talk about the different colors. And when I was writing in the feedback, the one thing I thought was you could ask them questions like, well, what color are these leaves, and what color is this stick? But then when I read your lesson, which was very helpful, you already asked them questions and you get feedback from them, and they learn how to express themselves, which I think is a really important form of feedback. So you already were doing that in the formative assessment. It just, none of that was particularly on the video, because of course, our video doesn't show everything, hours and hours of us teaching all day long. So I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was like I said, when I read your lesson plan, it was well written out, and I thought you met your objectives as well.